Hey everyone. I guess Jeff
Hey.
will just quit the live stream and decide not to pop in right away.
Well, I'm not the one with power over the buttons.
Oh, well, we all have power of attorney in this case. So,
We do.
Oh.
We're all button pushers here.
well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
We have me, myself here, and Jerry Lee, and Jeff.
Us threes.
Cool. We're missing one, but he's fired. Now hiring Nerd 4 yet again. So, most likely he's in the comments.
We're just going to start shuffling numbers here pretty soon.
Yeah. But yeah, for the topic for today is ISS recap. So I didn't go myself because I'm boring and lazy. However, these two people,
we did go. We did
know where
go.
they are.
Yep,
they went.
We had a good time, and in my opinion, it was a great show. It was small. I mean, obviously, many people had canceled, vendors had canceled, teachers had canceled, lots of things. But it was larger by far. Didn't you think, Jeff, than Fort Worth? I thought it was at least 3 times that size.
I mean, I thought too it was larger than Fort Worth, but it wasn't nearly what I was expecting because it's everybody says it's the biggest show of the year.
It's supposed to be, and now we'll have to see.
It was probably the biggest show of last year already.
Yeah,
but
it was small.
It was small, but we're gonna run into that. I think it's gonna be rough for shows for the next couple of years. Just it is what it is. People are nervous to travel still. They, with viruses popping up.
Yeah.
Let me put that out there with viruses popping up and, the new variants coming out, and it's gonna be a while before shows I think are going to pick back up. But it was a good sign, showed that, that there's still going to be shows. There's still a lot of people that went there.
Everyone was masked. I really liked that. I liked the safety protocol. I just can't tell you. I thanked the staff when we left the show for good. But every single person was checked. You had to either be COVID negative, and prove it, okay, with the test results, or you had to have a vaccine and prove it with your ID and your card. And for me, that was a game changer. That's why I went, is because with that kind of responsibility on their end, I'm comfortable. So I did go. 99.9% of the people in the show were masked at all times, except when they were eating or drinking. There was like maybe 1 or 2 in the whole show, maybe 3 that I saw that decided they didn't want to mask once they were in, but that was it. And there was thousands of people. So,
I mean, I will be honest. If you forgot your pass, they made you COVID screen again.
Did they?
Yep, they checked it again. So one of the days, Jerry Lee had went ahead, and I came back in after, and I left my pass in the car, and I went to go in and just get another pass, and they again checked me at the door with my proof of vaccination, and they put a stamp on your hand. It was like a little check mark. And so he showed him a little check mark. He looked at my vaccination stuff, and he put a second little check mark. And I said, I guess I'm twice as good.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting because on that, I thought, seriously, talking about responsibility, they used the same ink stamp all of the days. And I thought, I know it might be small, but in the context of things, I really thought that should have been a little bit different. So that's just
was just surprised that they used an ink stamp at all, to be honest with you, because they weren't letting you in the door if you didn't have
that's true
the proof. So
that's true.
I'm not quite sure. I'm sure somebody said, "Oh, we need to mark," and somebody else said that's a great idea, and then that's where it went.
Yeah.
But
we have these ink stamps left over from 15 years ago. We got to use them.
But let's grab a couple of comments here. So the first question for Matt: how do I get to your site to download your thread conversion chart? So
there must be a problem. Okay, how do you do it, Matt?
Well, the question is which thread conversion charts, because I don't really remember which ones you're referring to.
I would say go to threadconverter.com, but I don't think the other one has launched, right?
Yeah, I don't have the thread converter chart website. You can't download any of the charts from there yet, anyways. So it wouldn't be that one. I know I had some of them on the Embroidery Nerd website. Under resources and something.
And there was Discord too. I thought that you had a little sneak peek in Discord too, but
yeah. I can make them for whatever you need as long as it's not like me doing,
all of them.
Major program.
Yeah. But we have Cindy King. Hello. Mike says just here to say hi and bye. So I guess
hi. Toodles.
We have Marla. Hello. We have Suzanne from Newport, Rhode Island. We have Justin saying I was told to stay out today. We have Letty. Hi guys. We have Mashid. Now I met her. She was there. Yep. And I got a picture with her, and she texted it to me, and I haven't responded yet, but I'm pretty happy.
You got it. You got it.
I do. I have it on my phone, and I'm really excited. So I'll text you back.
Nice.
That too. And then we have Eric say, "How about the first non-number?"
Woo, Justin! I think he's a non-number now.
There you go. Letty says they stamp because randomly they're able to see if you have been checked. I guess. Well. And Mashid says, yes, we met, and thanks. So that's awesome.
That was fun.
So here's a question: did any other nerds find you and get a picture taken?
Yes.
Picture taken.
Do a post on Facebook of.
No, but I did meet some others. Actually, I think was her name. Is it Sheila? And I think I might
Sheila Ryan. No, I don't think
no. And I think I have her name wrong, but she was so nice. And I saw her. There's Liz. But I saw her at the show, and she was so excited to get a
lanyard
and a star. I'm telling you. Oh, and I met another gentleman, Doug, I think his name was, and he found me in the Bella booth as I was standing in line. They were giving out free T-shirts, and you could have 4 different. It was wild. They were very generous. The Bella plus canvas. I don't know if they mean Bella and canvas because it wasn't an ampersand. It was a plus sign, but they were very lively. But anyway, they were giving out shirts in your own size with 4 different decorations. They had skaters actually skating inside the booth with like rock and music, like. We were dancing. It was fun. But anyway, this dude came up and found me in there, and I'm pretty sure it was Doug. But he'd been looking for me because they were like, where's the booth? And we didn't have a booth. It was just us.
Yeah, maybe Dax. Probably not, though, anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. That was one thing that really surprised me about it, because we went to the show the first day, and about 3:30, it stopped being a show and kind of turned into a party. They had music. They had food trucks parked inside.
Oh, yes. Alcohol. You could get a drink at 10 a.m. You could get yourself a Johnny Walker.
Right.
I mean, there was no mix. There was only mixed drinks. No, no daiquiri or anything like that. You could get actually hard alcohol at 10 a.m. I'm like, what? And people were. And I'm like, what goes on? I was like, well, I'm just going to go walk. And so we did. We walked, and we saw a lot of territory. We talked to several people on, gosh, where all did we go, Jeff? We went to like Ganold. We went to every machine booth. We checked out every single machine. We checked out every thread booth.
Melco is celebrating their 50th, so they're 50 years old, I believe.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's this year or if they actually put a day.
No, it has to be this year because remember they had on team jerseys cool, that had the year 72, and it took me a minute to figure out why that was, and I was like, oh, the 50th anniversary, and so of course then it's all over the booth. But meanwhile, I'm checking out all these guys' embroidery and wondering why they're all numbered the same. So then I had to look around a little bit to click, but we saw just a great amount of enthusiasm. There was people gathered around a lot of the equipment, and then some booths were not visited at all, which was rather interesting to me.
I know the machine booths they were packed all the time.
Yes, they were. That's true. Oh, except
the color reel.
There's one that wasn't, though. Actually, I need to say, The SWF booth, Stitch It International.
Yeah.
It was empty.
Is this quiet the entire time?
Oftentimes when I went by, and there was actually salespeople in there, but there was no verve, no engagement, no speak to the people. It was like you had to be, as a vendor, and especially now, you actually have to want to be there, and or whatever. I don't want to dictate anybody's emotions or anything, or their desires or their intent. I'm just saying that you have to be present in the moment to be able to engage people. Or to me, it's a lot of why are you there? I mean, it just didn't make it was just there. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, you have your option. You can go there and talk to people, or you can go there and play Angry Birds on your phone.
Oh, true that. Maybe that was it.
So
color reel was probably the biggest hit, don't you think?
Yeah, they had a 6-head machine set up with color reel, so they had 6 color reel units on that, and then they had a single head that was set up with color reel. And
oh man,
the guys from there, they actually had the guys. I think they're from Sweden, but they were there at the color reel units, making explaining, answering questions to people. I'm pretty sure you got a patch, Jerry Lee, right?
I did actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, drop me out, or here, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go get that because I got this. The guy gave it to me out of his pocket so that I could bring it here and show it. So I'm going to drop out for a minute and go get it.
They were incredibly nice. I really like that booth. Madeira had a good booth. They were giving out some of their new thread that's out of the recycled plastic. So I was able to get a couple of spools of that. I think they were giving out samples of their CR metallic. But it was just, all in all, it was a really good show. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Good.
I just wish it was a little bigger.
Yeah, I was watching or looking at all the photos you guys were posting. I was like, man, I kind of wish I went, but yeah, I just couldn't swing it this time.
Let's be real. I wasn't posting pictures. I go there and I look at everything, and then I get back and I look at my phone and I go, oh, I should have took a picture. Jerry Lee was all over it though. She was taking pictures of all that stuff. But let's catch up here a little bit on the comments. Eric says Mashid stopped me for a pic too. I also didn't reply. Sorry about that. Yeah, she was all over it. And Elizabeth, I miss seeing you all there. Yeah, I was excited to meet you guys and see the GSG booth. GSG did have a booth, but it was not stocked with machines. So Mashid, you got them print on both sides. The Bella canvas, like Eric says, Bella always has their DJ. It's funny that they had the full setup with so many others out. There was one, I think it was some screen printing booth, but they actually had live music. They had a guy up there with a guitar and a mic, and they were playing live. So it was
definitely
just
sounds bigger than Fort Worth, that's for sure. If you have live music and everything.
Yeah, it was different. And it was pretty cool too. There is a lot of just a lot of neat stuff to see, a lot of the new technology. I, of course, focused on the embroidery machines, looking at the new machine designs. The Tajimas look like they've gone pickerless, so their cylinder arm is, ridiculously small now. Same ZSK has been pickerless for a while. Barrett looks like they've gone pickerless too. So that seems to be where everybody's heading, because they can make the cylinder arm smaller, and they can put the needle closer to the end of the needle plate so you can get deeper into stuff. So it was neat seeing all that stuff for sure. But
so you can get closer to the brim on hats and stuff.
You can get higher on the top because you're not going to have the cylinder arm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They had one Tajima there that was sewing a hat, and I've never seen a machine not have, there was no flagging period. It was just like you'd be sewing on a flat. I was really, really impressed with it. But
so if you had a check come through your checking account right now, which color team would you be based off of what you saw there?
Man, that's a tough. If it was just based off of what I saw at the show, I would probably I'd be buying a Tajima. If it was just based off of straight at the show, I'd be getting a Tajima. They were the most engaged of all the machine manufacturers. You didn't stand near the Tajima booth for more than 15 seconds without somebody checking on you. They were very attentive. They answered a lot of your questions really well. Their digital tension is like magnetic. That was really cool too.
Oh, man.
You could pull the whole tensioner off
It was
and
wow.
in between it and then just snap it back on. It was magnetic.
Bizarre. And they had two of them. There was two of them. There was like,
yep. They
like
had like the pre-tensioner way up on top before the, because it goes in the tube. So there's a tensioner way up there. And then they had two tensioners on the head that were magnetic. It was just, it was different.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was friggin' wild. I was like, I just couldn't. I was like, you can tip it up from this end. I was like, how does this work? It was like the most. And so I questioned it, honestly. And I said, so tell me, how has this improved over a Maya? Because, there's been a lot of grief over that auto tensioning. And I'm honestly not a great fan. So I wanted to know, why was this a good thing? And was this a cleaned up system? And I was assured that this was head and shoulders over what has been out in the industry previously. So, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. It'll have to answer for itself and see. But it was really friggin' cool.
Well, it sounds like Jeff ordered one, so should be there in what, month and so?
I don't know.
I ordered 6. You know it, man. It's on my card.
I haven't put pen to paper on anything yet. That's
no. You want to grab some comments there, and
yeah, I'm gonna try right here. I think is where I left off. We have Clara.
Hi, Clara.
Mike says, "Okay, maybe hang a bit. No promises. He'll be here.
We're gonna have fun. We are."
Lyndon watching from North Carolina. Awesome. Justin had FOMO the whole time. Good.
I know. We did that on purpose.
Letty, I know what you mean. I was sad I wasn't there.
We tried to enjoy it for you.
Clara, we got 2 metallic threads from Madeira, 5 hats over 3 days from Cat Booth. Yeah, I mean, nobody was shy about handing out supplies. It seemed like everybody had something. Almost every booth had something. And
I have a pile.
Yeah. I'd walked by some booths and they were like, I wasn't even going into the booth or looking in the booth. And they're like, here, want this?
Yep.
Okay. And then can I scan your badge? Well, it's only fair. So it was pretty cool. Yes. Eric says ROC putting on their show for sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mike, I'm sorry. I'm glad Color Reel exists and stuff, but I just don't see regular commercial. I need to see it in person for some regular corporate work to really decide.
So here's what I found out. All right. And I think, Jeff, that you mentioned this, and then I verified it. Luke Carmody from the ZSK in Australia has verified this in our group when it came up. The color reel and the machine are indeed 2 separate units. So the whole thing together was about a $70,000 gig. Now, I can't find that little patch just yet. And so I will, but I do want to show you the other goodies that I brought home. But I was trying to figure out where the thread was running. And I don't know if you covered this, Jeff, when I was looking for the patch, but I couldn't figure out where the thread was running because it was only going through one needle for everything, of course, which is the entire point. But why were all the other needles threaded? And why were there 15 cones of thread back there? This confused me. I just was like, I'm not explain, So basically you have to step around the back of the machine and there's a very large spool, probably a king cone. It just looked large from where I was standing, but it's on its side and it's dispensing in through the ink. And so it's anytime that it's going through that needle, it's already been dyed by where it is in the process of the design. When I did that live, and when we were talking about that, the biggest question that kept coming up, and Jeff, I don't know if you ever got the answer because I never asked and I never heard, but if there was a mistake, does it this might sound kind of ignorant, but I honestly don't know. Does it, and a lot of people ask, does it back itself up and re-dye itself? Does it not dye itself when it's going back up? Does it lay re-dyed thread? I mean, how do you go back and fix that?
I don't know. The only thing that I can say is they did tell me that they have their own system that you put the DST file into, and then you assign the color changes in through that. And it looked like to me that the controller, they had an interface into the controller.
Okay.
So my guess is the interface into the controller had a like it told the color reel which stitch it was on.
Okay, so
and
would
what
it
the
just
color
back
assignment.
up?
But I don't know. I honestly don't know if it would back it up. They were hiding the color changes because, you know, when you go from red to black, there's going to be a gradient in between those two, and they were hiding those in underlay.
Yes, I thought that was brilliant. Now, I did ask one of the salespeople there if you had to digitize differently, because it seemed to me that you would with the color reel. And they said, yes, you do. And I'm like, okay, so now you have to, like, now you're going to do something different. So, okay, so then you'd have to figure out what that is or be told, whatever it may be. I would hope that it would not be huge, but it was very interesting. The ink, Jeff, did you cover the ink cost on that? It was it's 4 colors and you refill it 4 times a year. So it's $1,200 a pop in ink. So $4,800 a year additionally in ink. So
Yeah. You know, honestly, the biggest use I saw for it that, you know, when people point me at that, what goes into my head is this would be fantastic for like a mall kiosk.
yes,
Where you have people come in and they want this monogrammed and they want it in that color.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden you're taking out having to have 400 threads on your wall. Now you just have to have 1 and 4 ink cartridges.
Yes.
And so to me, that's the biggest, like that would be my driving sales point. If I went to a mall kiosk and they were like, we want to put in a machine to monogram stuff, I'd say this is the unit you need so you don't have to have 400 spools of thread.
Exactly. And also, which brings us to the other point, that it's green, because you are cutting down on the plastic in the spools and the shipping, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all you're doing is this ink system. So
yeah,
it's just a greener system, but we're going to have to wait until those come down in price, which means somebody's going to have to buy them. And it's not going to be us.
All right. We got to catch up on comments.
Okay,
go. So Mashid says, Jeff, what is your takeaway from Q&A in general? I learned a lot. Thanks again. You know, the only thing that really surprised me about that is the Q&A was open on the show floor. And so there were issues hearing, like, I know I misheard some questions the first time, and then the other guy started answering, and I went, oh, that's what it is. And then there was problems with feedback from the mic. But other than that, you know, it was a pretty good time. I just was surprised that they did it on the show floor. And even
I just walked in.
Yeah, and even Eric's last class was on the show floor. Mm-hmm. His puff class he did was on the show floor.
It was paid class, wasn't it?
It was. You just walked in there and sat down.
I walked in.
There was no.
I just went in where I wanted and sat down.
Yep.
It was bizarre.
And it you know, it added to it that now you've got all the noise from the show going on in the background. And
here, because they had, didn't they have Ink Kitchen over in this corner, and then on-site learning was here.
Yeah.
And then they had somebody right next to the on learning site that these guys were in.
Yeah.
Doing a drawing, a raffle with a basket.
With the thing. You know, it was just like when we went to go find it, we went up by all the classrooms. We were walking back and forth by the classrooms, and we had to have somebody walk us there. And we were just surprised that it was on the show floor.
But it was small, so it made sense, I guess, that you wouldn't have to. But it you know how it differentiated. You know how in Fort Worth they had encouraging things to keep your momentum because you were hiking 15 miles.
You're almost there.
Class, you know, just a little more. There's water at the end of this hall, you know.
Yep.
But here it was like, oh, you've arrived, and you didn't even know you've arrived. You'd already left. You had to go arrive. It was like bizarre. It was like, what?
All right. So Eric says, I feel similar on color reel. We'll be hearing more now that more distributors are selling it. Yeah. I think we'll see the use case at least being pitched and more interviews on the horizon. You know, I think too, because it's been around for a while, but price and availability, and I think that the availability is getting there. I think the price is going to come down too, and that's where it's really going to, if they can get it down more in price point, it's going to pick up for that exact reason. You know, you can do it in a mall kiosk, you can do it in a monogramming shop. You know, it'd be really nice to be able to say, you know what, your customer sends you a Pantone and you need to match it. You can just type in the Pantone on the front screen.
Exactly.
Problem solved.
Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, because it sounded a little on the bizarre to me, but did I not understand that 6-head color reel, every head could be run individually?
Yeah,
see,
not individually. Each color reel unit could be individual.
Right,
So
like-
you could have each color reel throwing
That's what I
down
mean.
different colors at the same time.
So it all have to be the same design, just different colors within that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta move the hoop in the same direction because it's all one machine.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
color,
that's what I wanted to make sure, because I
I
was
mean,
like,
you could do that with a real or
you
regular
do it with the
threaded. but-
wires, you just hook them up, So I was like,
Yeah.
what's that deal? But
Yeah, you could
cost of
do
that?
that.
yeah,
You could tell it, I want blue on this one and red on that one and
it's
purple on
really
that.
sharp though, because then you're able to offer something different, like custom. But again, the other place I see that is in and I don't know if they'd go for it, but the very rich people, when you're up in the Beverly Hills crew and all that, because this, you can really customize when you're in the interior design industry. But I don't know if the whole sublimating the ink thing, the thread would be.
But if you get into the higher end market, you can use that as your sales pitch.
It could be, but I just
Running
don't
it
know
through
if
that
they're
machine is
putting ads on that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that, like, people that are going to have this in their dressing room at the studio are going to, like, I don't know. But if they didn't know, they wouldn't know. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking that. So
yeah.
I'm not sure. I could be.
I,
I want one just because I can make colors. I just
it goes to that too. It's like everything I saw there, I'm like, I want one.
Yeah.
And Ava would say, well, why? And I'd say, because I want one.
Yeah,
Like,
it's cool. Well, here's
I
the
saw
other thing, and then we'll then we can leave the color reel for now, I think, maybe. But here's the other thing that was a really big thing, Jeff, and I think maybe you'll agree with this too, is that it blends for you.
yeah, you can.
It does it all. It
Yep.
does everything.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see how the digitizing in the files would have to be different,
I would
because
like to see that.
if you're planning, like they said, they were hiding the color changes in the underlay.
Yeah.
So that's a conscious decision how
Where
are you putting in that conscious decision. But
like you have to path that, you have to become more of a hands-on digitizer, old school. That
Yep.
I wonder if it's more of an auto digitizing kind of nonsense.
I think I saw a video somewhere where they're showing the software, because you digitize your file, then you put it in their software.
Yep.
And I think you kind of like slowly play it back, and then that's where you drop a color change and say, I'm running the underlay right now of this object. And then
Like
you drop
first
that you're
stitch.
going from white to red. And
Yeah.
then it'll continue with the top stitch, and then it'll go to the next one and you change it there. I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
That
It's
makes
just my
sense.
educated
I
I get
think the neat part is there's somebody at that company that knows exactly how many stitches it takes to change colors
I
from
know.
one to the other.
It's really intriguing. It's really intriguing just because of that minute detail that a person could actually know if you really wanted to.
Yeah. So Dustin says, hey guys, Machi said Racoma didn't offer anything. I know that they had some deals going on online.
Did they?
Mike says, I think the difference between Melco and Tajima is Melco is an active feed. It pushes through a calculated amount of thread. It does. How do you push a rope? I don't know. Tajima is actual live tension.
It's interesting. It's a very interesting thing.
The needle plate on a Melco is half moon shaped, and the needle plate screws are on the sides. Like, it's completely smoothed over on the top. There's no flat.
It's just nice.
Yeah, it's like the guy told me that they made it more like a gun barrel, so there's just nothing to get caught on the top of the needle plate, which I thought was different. But I digress. Machine said even a better. Letty, the ink cost.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was $1,200 per cartridge per year.
Yep. And then Suzanne says, I wonder if you have to do a trim before backing up, and then the color rear discards. I'm going to pull through 6 feet of colors. Let's back this up.
I mean, like, I don't know. The whole thing, it's just, for me, I haven't arrived there, and I'm not sure I will for a bit, but I don't know enough about it to say that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So.
And Elizabeth says, also consider the cost of their white thread.
Well,
Yeah,
that.
They're and
it takes a special thread. You can't just use cotton thread.
Suzanne says, how is the sheen and luster? And these are the two things I didn't ask. A, could you use any thread? I think they said that they were using Madeira thread, but I could be wrong. And B, I didn't look at the sheen and luster because I was looking at I was looking at it changing. Like you could literally watch the thread on a color change as it came down and went through the tensioner. That's
where
what I was looking at.
Like all of us were just like mesmerized, going, "When is it going to change?" You know, it's really cool.
I don't think that anybody was like, "Oh, look at that neat blend." I think everybody's like, "It's changing."
Yeah.
But, you know, those would be questions I'd be asking if I was in the ballpark to buy one.
And I see Liz has dropped in another comment that I want to bring up because it's really specific.
One person at a time.
I got it.
Okay.
Elizabeth says, "Oh, you read it. You got it."
Also, the process for additional steps within the digitizing is required. See, this is what I wanted to know, Liz. Thank you for bringing this up. Most major projection shops will lose time with this step. And that's what I mean. You have to go back and you have to redigitize. Oh.
Mike says, honestly, I think color reel solves a problem that doesn't exist.
It created a problem to solve it.
Almost. Yeah.
Yep. And Justin says, is that a whole new machine or an add-on to it?
It's an add-on.
Yep.
So this is what did really throw me, is that they had a machine, a 15 color machine that they had 15 colors on, and then they had thread coming down from nowhere through an ink reel, and I was like, whoa. Have we fallen down the rabbit hole? Alice in Wonderland, what?
So Mike says, sorry, I can't stay. Good to talk to you later. And Eric says, has to be polyester. It's sublimation. Okay. Sublimation requires poly. Recycled poly is what they are showcasing discussion.
I like that. That's also
that, you know, that was one thing that I thought was really cool tol, and is the recycled thread, because it seemed like there were a few other booths that were doing that too.
Madeira.
Yeah, Madeira is. You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to have a box that I could send in my old cone cores and have it recycled into thread. Because I give away a lot of those to, you know, kindergartner teachers, and I'd love to throw them in a box and have it be turned into thread.
But you know, if you don't have a kindergartner teacher, and that's a problem for a lot of embroiderers, and there's like so much not recycling, that's I think a viable business somewhere.
Well,
in my opinion,
I have yet to struggle to find anybody to take them. You got to love those free Facebook sites in your area. I'll take it. I didn't even type what I have yet.
Just mail them all to Jerry Lee from now on.
No,
the address is in the comments.
It better not be.
Nice.
Okay, so can I take a moment and show a few of the goodies?
Absolutely. We're caught up on comments. Go nuts.
Okay. Well, I did not find, we did go everywhere, and Jeff and I went here, there, and yonder, and I think we hit everybody more than once to make sure, and it was fun. So here's something interesting, which I just think it was interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to say that this little bag, and I don't know how much it costs, okay, but it's one of those like really disposable-y kind of bags, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody embroidered every single one. This is actually embroidery, which, like, I was like, that's interesting. I thought that was an interesting thing to go to all that and embroider it.
A full package company. Okay. I was I was reading what it said.
Oh,
I was like, I wonder what, because to me, if I'm a company that makes something like that, then if I'm going to have it embroidered, I'm going to be an embroidery supply company.
Yeah. This is a factory menu. Let's see. FactoryMFG.com. FactoryMFG.com. Okay, factory one. But it's completely embroidered. And I thought, this is such a disposable. And so that just was a curiosity. Okay. Okay. So, you know, when Jeff referred to people throwing things at you almost when you were walking by and say, here, take this. Well, when I had gone to the show a little earlier than when he arrived, he said, here, take this. And I ended up with a very heavy duty, completely plain, thick. This is a, what do I have here?
It's free shirt.
It is. It's a 6.5 ounce pre-shrunk or shrink-free custom dyed garment by, LA Apparel, Los Angeles Apparel. Okay. And on the bottom, it's a, oh shoot, I never can get my camera because I'm always backwards on this. An imperfect gift. Some decorating required. Isn't that cute? So they gave off these things that like, instead of just like discarding or doing whatever, they gave them. So I thought that was cute.
That was out front on the steps before I even got into the show. That was
That's
outside
crazy.
of the show.
It's really crazy because they had a really big booth inside. They did. Let's see. Okay, so on my lanyard, Jeff and his son Adam made all of us nerds custom lanyards for our thing last year. Our
Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth. Thank you. And in between my move, mine is still hanging at my other space, or it's in somewhere out there. But anyway, so I got one of our embroidery nerd lanyards, and Kevin, who's a member here, gave us each one of these pins.
Yep,
which is like really awesome. So I put it opposite of my embroidery nerd pin, which is somewhere there. Okay,
so wait. I'm gonna pin in it because we got 2 comments.
Okay.
It says this concept is great, requires full modifications. Remember, paper tape to floppy to USB, now Wi-Fi. Color concept is coming but not ready yet. And Justin says they found a creative way to get rid of their reject tees.
And that's what it says, that it's a reject. And I thought, isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, when Jeff sends patches or sends me a package, he always fills it with pretty much his recycled.
Backing. I know. Yeah. I get it too. It's like, oh, look at that. What was he doing that day? What kind of black backing, white backing?
If you embroidery, you don't melt them in the dryer with screen printing. Nope. I believe that.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I've got packing material is expensive, and I throw away a lot of backing, and it works.
And it does.
It's the most stable package ever.
I just collect the paper, craft paper from like Amazon packages or whatever I get, and I have like one of them like tubes that. It's from Gunold when I bought the twill, and I just cram it in there, and it's basically like a gigantic Kleenex box, and you just pull it out.
You know what I got? You know what I got from Jeff one time is a mailing envelope, like that had his address. It was a priority mail, and he'd cut it open, got the stuff out, and stuffed it in my box. Okay, so all right, so we are going to show you this one. This is a Hirsch
hat.
Yeah, it's a hat, and I always get this camera backwards, but anyway, this is the better of the two, and this is actually what was being handed out for a sample, and they weren't cleaning it up. And the one that I didn't take, or that because I asked, I didn't just take this thing, but was just looped the entire eye, just. But this is like it's not really cleaned up or anything. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. I know they didn't have that. Well, they quit selling parts, but yeah. So, but anyway, so I got this. I know it. Wait a second. I've got a few of those here. But I did get this. I got a ton. Yes. And more coming. But so this is this is one of the giveaways there. And I think Jeff got one from another hat company, and they put their logo on the side. So this was nice. I wasn't able to snag that really small writing from Baradin. It's not like I didn't try, but it's just like a little bit different feel.
I can just see Jerry running off with the hoop, run out the door. You can't catch me.
I can run. Let me tell you, I got track shoes on, man. I hoof it, especially when I want something. I'm kidding.
I will tell you, if you are going to a show, bring a big bag and don't put a lot in it when you're on your way. Because I packed I was really excited for how I packed when I went to the show, because I had everything fitting in one bag and it was packed in there. And then we get to the show and people are handing me stuff. I'm like, I can't get this home.
Well, I have to show you this really cool bag that was one of the coolest giveaways ever. If somebody's into packaging out there, I want to tell you, this one got my attention. I went to the booth specifically for this bag. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. This is the bag. First of all, it's enormous, okay? And then it opens up. It's got this on the bottom, It's not got a really wide gusset, but it's got this cloth handles. They're stitched on. This thing is that sealed plastic stuff. Oh, it's Velcroed on top. But wait, there's more. There's a reason why it's Velcroed on top, Okay, which is like, this is why I dig this bag.
That's where you can put a patch.
It's a backpack. It's a frigging backpack. People were walking around with these things stuffed. Look how big this thing is. And people were walking around with that.
Yep.
It was like crazy. And let's see. Oh, okay. I just have a couple more things to show you.
All right. Well, while you're grabbing, I'm going to get, Cindy says we have a customer that loves LA apparel.
Yeah.
You know, from what I felt, it's a pretty nice shirt. I kind
Yes.
of looked at the guy when he handed me a size medium. You want a shirt? Sure. Hands me a size medium.
That maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's all I had. I don't know. But man.
Could be.
Yeah.
Suzanne says, I got a package that she used plastic grocery store bags for packing. It was great. I was grateful because there's only paper bags here in Rhode Island. I use them for my trash cans, etc.
Look at
Sounds
that.
like we gotta do a nerd care package just full of trash bags.
Yeah, that's what
There
we're
you
going to
go.
do from now on.
Cindy says, great. Now I have to keep my backing scraps.
No, ship them. Ship them to Jeff. He's good at
Ship
it.
them. There you go. Olivia said, Jerry Lee, I'll have your back if you're running out with samples with hoops attached.
I really was. Listen, that lettering, I think, who was that by? What is the name? Justin.
I'm
Jeff?
pretty sure it's because they had a couple of things done by, I believe it's James Timman. He's the Wilcom
Yes, from
teacher
Wilcom.
trainer. Yep.
That
interviewed it.
lettering was off the hook. And
Yeah.
I know that some people think that can actually be done in satin, but I'm telling you, the way that it was done was the perfect execution. And that was to do it in a run stitch and mimic, because honestly, when I walked up, I said, how in the world is this Baradin doing that satin stitch? And I honestly thought it was a satin because it looked like one. And that's because of the digitizing. It wasn't the machine.
Yeah.
It was the digitizing. So I was very impressed.
I mean, it was
Tiny.
like those are tricks I've seen people do when they're doing 40 weight thread, trying to make it tinier. And he was running 60 weight thread.
Yes, he
and pulled out
was.
all the stops to make that like.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I just wanted to show it, but I just all I could do was take pictures. It was hard to get talked to. I mean, you could just stand there forever and not be.
You know, that depended on the booth, though. There were some booths that you'd sit there for 5 seconds and they're like, oh, hi.
Yeah. At the Baradin booth, when I was standing there waiting, I was like, talk to me. Don't make me jump on your counter. I didn't do it, but
I could see you doing that, though.
Well, I really wanted that darn thing because it was so stellar. The digitizing was some of the best I have ever seen.
So, just so you know, she'll have your back. I'll trip them at the door when they're chasing you.
Okay, we got to share though.
She says, "I got several hats. Simple and
nice
plain."
samples. Nice.
Yep. James is very nice.
Very talented.
Hold on. We have Cindy says, Jerry Lee, that bag is as big as you are. There's
thing and get hauled around.
I saw a lot of the first time I saw that bag with somebody walking by, I went, wait a minute.
Yeah. I know. It's like you suddenly think that you've gone in through the keyhole and now you're a dinky person.
Yep.
Because of these
massive bags. They were big on everybody.
They were.
Candace, I'm sure the pictures of the checks didn't do it justice, but it looked awesome. It's really, really hard when you take a picture of something that tiny because you zoom in on it and you can see the holes in the weave of the fabric because it was that small. But
yeah, it was.
Cindy thinks it's funny they tried to give me a medium shirt. I thought it was pretty comical too, but I figured it would fit Jerry Lee.
Well, it will. It's large on me.
Justin said, "How small was the text?"
That was less than 1/8 of an inch. It was minute.
An eighth of an inch?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was the tiniest text that I have done text that size, and I would say, okay, so let me see now. Hang on, in my millimeters, that was, I would say, less than 2 millimeters. Yes, I'm calling it less than 2 millimeters. If anybody wants to know, the thickness of a thread is 0.4 millimeters, 2 threads, okay, 2.5 threads, but we round up, okay, so it'd be 2 threads makes 1 millimeter. That's how thick. I mean, that's how tall they were. Twice that. It was like.
Yeah, it was pretty small.
Very impressive.
I didn't measure it. I don't think anybody measured it. They just
No.
looked at it and was like,
I was
"Oh,
just like, we couldn't get to it like that. They were hiding. Like as soon as they came off the machine, those things were guarded. So
uh-oh."
yeah.
Justin says, "No, hold on." Justin says, "Laugh." Before that, 1/8 inch. Hold my beer.
Yep.
There
Yeah, I
you
was
go.
wrong. Yeah, but it was small.
Suzanne, that is nice for wedding handkerchiefs.
Yes,
It was on like a silk kind of handkerchief
yes.
too,
They
wasn't
did
it?
it on like almost a chiffon kind of a thing. They had different
Yeah.
mediums. They had different types. They had a taffeta. It was a gold one. The first one was run on, and that's what they were showing. And I don't know what the backing was. It was probably cutaway, a nice cutaway. And then the next one was that nice, beautiful Victorian mint green. I just was
Yeah.
like dying for that. I was like, please let me frame whatever that is. And it was in Italian, so or whatever. I mean, it was not English. I don't know that it was Italian, or maybe it was Latin. And I'm serious. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, it was beautiful in whatever language it spoke to me. Take me, girl, take me and run.
So Suzanne says you should have James on the Nerd Show. We have. We interviewed him and
Do it again.
Teresa. They're actually Wilcom's doing a virtual trade show right now. They had some of it today. I'm not sure if they're having more tomorrow. But Cindy asks who was running the booth. Bob Stone.
Yes, he was.
I was going to say I have no idea because
Yes, he was.
I don't know anybody there. And Dustin says, "Get it, Justin." So we're going to see how small Justin's going to make text. There's
I want to see it because it was something. But I want to show you just a couple other little things. And I want to let you know that whenever we go to our shows, Justin, thank you so much, dresses us. And I don't mean in that way. I mean in this way. He gives us garments and things. We buy garments and whatnots. And he puts like special things. You know, I have my logo and then the embroidery nerd logo. And it's like all cool and we have special stuff. And for me, as a chick, he gets me Bella. And it's very soft. Okay. Very soft. So this was the really cool place that was skating and everything. All right. So when I went in there, I was walking around checking stuff out. This is actually the only catalog doohickey. I took 2 of them and I'll show you the other one in a minute. But I want to show you this. I got this, whoops, beautiful. It has extra beautiful. And they put little pieces of cloth on each one. It's very tactile. I really like that. They have gorgeous colors, but actually the reason I got this, Justin, is so that the next time you ask me what color I want when we're going to a show,
she's going to pull out the color chart.
I am actually going to pull out this color chart.
There's so many colors. I want them all.
With the extra, and I'm going to let you know. So anyway, so here's what happened. They were like, so when I was going through there was this line that was starting to build up, this queue. And I was wondering what in the heck people were queuing for. And it wasn't that long. So I thought I'd ask. So I asked this lady, hey, what's going on? And she said, oh, free shirts. Free shirts? Yeah. I said, what do you have to do? You know, because usually there's some kind of a gimmick. And she said, nothing. She said, you just stand in line and go up. So here's what I really loved about this particular booth and what they did. You know how when you go to somewhere and somebody gives you a sample of something to you that you would really like to wear because you like the product and you can't because it ain't your size. That stinks, doesn't it? Well, this is what they did over there. And Jeff had to clue me in on something. I realized later it was male and female shirts, but I didn't realize it at the time. I just knew I was coming back to Idaho and I was going to be cold. So what I did is they had 4 different logos that they were screen printing and 4 different colors of shirts, 4 different colors of screened logos, and 4 different colors of shirts and 2 different styles. So I stood in line and I got this one and it says be different. And I thought, yes, ma'am. And you can get this one in black or white, I think, the ink. And I got a long sleeve because like I said, Idaho, right? And I was cold. I was thinking about that. Well, then I went and stood in line again because you can only get one thing done at a time. So I stood in line again and asked him to put the other thing on the back, which doesn't show up very well. It's settled, but that's what I wanted. And it says Long Beach 2022. And what I liked is that they asked you what size did you want, what style and what logo, and they were never rude They were never pushy, and they just didn't shove something in your hands. Everybody left happy.
I mean, I was pretty happy when I read the sticker that said an imperfect gift.
I know.
Because I was like, that's.
I thought that was brilliant.
It's the little things that people do that it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I know, just the little quirks. Like that's what caught Jeff's eye. And
there was a booth, Jerry Lee, and I don't remember if you remember what booth it was because I don't. But there was a booth that they had little tiny T-shirts, and I remember I walked up to it, and it was like I showed you one of them, and you looked at it and you're like, oh, it's
a little tiny T-shirt.
Yeah,
and it was not a baby clothing booth. It wasn't like whatever those baby ones that come.
Yeah.
Alpha or rabbit skin. I didn't see any of those this time, actually.
It was like the size of my hand, but a little T-shirt
or something.
It was like a onesie, and it just had this thing across, and I was like, that is so freaking cute. There was a
might have been Gnold.
Gnold was I don't think, but you know what? When you said that did come to mind. Actually, was Gnold, and I don't know if it was, but it's funny that we both thought that. Yeah, so maybe it was.
They were. Like the shirts were like the size of my hand. It was literally just a tiny sample of something on a.
Yeah, really cute.
You know,
you got a comment from Elizabeth saying Sizer.
SISER. Is that?
That's the vinyl company. They're the Sizer Easy Weed, and they do sublimation stuff. If I
maybe because they were just the most adorable little things.
Yeah, they were cute little T-shirts.
They were. A lot of people were giving away chocolates. I thought that was nice. They weren't stingy. I got a little teeny flashlight, which I thought was fun. And what else did it? Oh, it has a whistle.
And a compass. It was it was from the company. So there's a company there. They make like an iron-on interfacing. And they've partnered with the Boy Scouts of America. And Girl so Scouts they actually, girls as well. But they also have the, you buy the interfacing and it's already cut to the size of the badges.
Yes. You just iron it on.
Yep. So you just iron it on. And that was kind of their big push. And so they were giving out little, like scout tools, which was.
Yeah. And it was cool.
And he didn't have to. There were some booths that they were like, hey, would you like something? They didn't have to ask me twice. I was like, yep. And then there were some booths that they were like, oh, you want this? And I was like, I don't know if I really want to haul that. Yeah. And then there were some places I'm like, Jerry Lee would love this.
Yes. and they had Madeira has a new metallic out. I think it's new. This is the first time I heard it.
I thought they were talking about the CR metallic, which I think it's like almost a year old. I don't think it's that old.
They were giving samples of that out, and it's spun differently, and it's made differently, and you can run it through any size needle at the same tension as everything else. No muss, no fuss metallic.
Yeah. You know why? It's if I remember right, it's a poly core with a mylar wrapping. There's actually no, because in the old metallics, it was a metallic film that they actually put in there that would kink. And when that kink would hit your needle, that's when the thread break.
I never, ever, not once in my life have ever had trouble with Madeira metallic or any other metallic. And I ran metallic all the time. It's my favorite thread. Honestly, I did more work in that than anything else.
I don't think I've had a hard time with some metallics, but that was before I had an industrial machine. I was doing it on a home flatbed.
Oh,
and so the way it spooled off was significantly different. And that was the only time I ever really had issues. But I was able to solve them by running like one of those vertical thread stands that you set off to the side.
People would do that, or sometimes like people would they'd put a wooden dowel and stick it up on the thread tree and then put the thread cone sideways like so, instead of upright this way, and then run it through a peanut. And I thought, my Lord, no wonder you're having trouble. I never had trouble like that. I was like, man, y'all are creating your own freaking problems if you want to know, but nobody asked me.
All right. Well, we got way behind in comments.
Oh, go for it.
So we're at
there we
go. Point here.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was them, Gildan.
Yeah, so we actually have, Suzanne says, I have a bunch of poems for weddings, and they are not easy. No, they are not. Eric says, all smooth materials, certainly good stuff, highly controlled combinations, have to keep it all well in hand. If you're digitizing for a very specific application, you can get very detailed. You just know better what to digitize for. So Suzanne says, "Oh wait, I think I remember seeing them on here. That's James and Teresa." Cindy says, "If I remember tomorrow, I'll contact my Baron rep and see if we can get some information. That'd be cool. I'd like to know who digitized it and
Pick their brain.
Sample.
Yeah,
I'd
it was pretty
like
good.
a sample of that, Cindy.
Yeah.
You like seem to know everybody. What up?
Larry says that is how Gideon is.
Well, then,
1 year, Bella gave away T-shirts in a Chinese takeout.
yes, I was there and I got it.
Letty says, and you can use an app to find stock off that flyer. Yeah, I remember her showing that in the Discord. Matt posted a link to MacroScript embroidery.
Wow.
Suzanne, Gideon has mini tees. Again, Elizabeth says Sizer. Suzanne, they have a display of all their colors, hopefully. Gideon has the tiny tee samples. Might be
I think we're going to have to say that must have been. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sizer also has the tiny shirt.
Okay. So we have two possibles.
I think Sizer is they cut a little T-shirt out of the vinyl and they press that down and that's a sample. But this was actually something on a tiny T-shirt. It wasn't just in the shape. It was actually a tiny T-shirt you could put on your hand and go like this, and it was a finger puppet for a little bit.
So cute.
I didn't get kicked out of the booth, I promise.
No, didn't do that either in front of me.
So Cindy says, Eric, we used to have the Gideon tiny tees.
Oh, how cute.
Sedona, Gideon sample box. We have one, and everyone asks if they are T-shirts for dogs. Ooh.
Cute.
And Madeira has new retro reflective out this time. I think I have some of the retro reflective. It's pretty
nice.
Cool. Sizer uses a tiny tees. Yep. And Elizabeth Cindy King is awesome. I
agree. I can't say anything.
Nerd 4.
Now replacing Justin. Oh wait.
Justin is about to storm into this studio and have a talk.
He's waiting in the back room.
Yes, waiting. He is.
He has access to the buttons, I promise. Cindy, Sedona, same here. We did put some on our puppies.
Well, that's funny. I bet they loved it.
And Mashid, I got to go for a walk. Looking forward to being in the next live show. It was a great opportunity to meet you. Jeff, Jerry Lee and Jeff, thanks. Matt for hosting.
Thank you. It was awesome.
And Sedona says, Cindy, we do a lot.
Oh, I bet.
Yep. So, I mean, that's like one of the best parts about going to the show, besides seeing all the super cool stuff, is I was more excited to meet people.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
With some of the vendors, I was looking forward to meeting with some of the vendors that were going to be there and people that I've talked to on the phone that I've never actually met in person. So I was really bummed when some of the vendors, like I was planning on going and talking to this person, I was planning on going and talking to that person, and then to find out that they didn't come, that they bounced the show. That was kind of frustrating, but I think every vendor that showed up got their money's worth, to be honest with you, because people were there and the booths were, most of the booths had people in them all the time. There were some booths that you wondered a little bit about, but for the most part, there were people there. They were there to shop, and
they were. But, there was someone that mentioned that they had gone to a large vendor, and I got the idea that it was a thread vendor, but might have that wrong. And that thread vendor said that they didn't want to be there, that they actually tried to cancel. And this could be rumor. I mean, it is rumor. It's gossip. It's hearsay, whatever. Okay. I'm making a disclaimer. I have not verified these facts. But what this person said was the only reason that vendor came was because they were told that if they didn't, they were not going to be allowed to attend the rest of the circuit, that their contracts would be canceled, which I think is pretty freaking brutal.
I'm pretty sure I did read that. I mean, it does cost impressions a lot to set that up and rent the space. So changing things, it gives kind of more of an incentive.
Yeah, but dude, we're in a freaking pandemic. So what does this mean? So this is the biggest show of the year. So does that mean now that every vendor that was not able to attend for health reasons or COVID related? I mean, what if they had COVID? What if their staff had COVID? I mean, hello. So we're in here we've been in for a minute. So does that mean they can't participate for any of the next 4 shows? Because that just nails the rest of the year.
I haven't seen an actual contract, but I mean, every contract is supposed to have the force majeure clause, which says things like.
I'd like to know about this because I want to know, does this mean that now the people who were unable or did not, whatever it was, for whatever reason, did not attend after they'd made the plans to. Does that mean now that they can't? That's going to kill the next year. I want to know. I'm going to have to look into that.
I'd find it interesting if the shows were smaller. If it wasn't for Omicron kicking up, I think a lot more people would have came to the show.
Yes.
And it was, not only leading up to the show did we have Omicron, then we also had the flights issues with tons of flights being canceled, which my worst thing was one flight was delayed 30 minutes, which is not the end of the world.
Bad.
As bad as it could be.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of uncertainty coming up right to the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that we don't see, I want all this to go away. I know everybody else does too. And I'm hoping that
the world is done.
Yeah. I'm hoping that in the lead up to the later shows on the year that there's not going to be as much uncertainty and companies are going to be a lot more confident to go and show up and be there. So let me grab a couple more. We have Cindy. Hey, thanks for the sweet comments. No, more than they're well deserved.
Marlon, that's all about you.
So she says, did y'all go to the beach, watch the surfers at early morning waves? I don't know if you made it to the beach or not, but I most definitely did not.
Not this time. Next time.
And Letty says I could see charging a cancellation fee depending on the date. I could see that too.
This is a pandemic. There has to be rule change. There has to be procedural change. Don't be a stick in the mud. Ben, go with the flow, man. We're all in it to win it,
Yeah. And so
on that note, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So SNS will be kicked out. We
don't know.
I'm sure that the vendors had conversations with Impressions and they got it worked out into a way that's beneficial for both of them. So
we'll just have to see. Like I said, that was a rumor and I didn't hear it personally. It wasn't from that vendor to my ear. So I can't say, but I do want to show you one last thing that I picked up while I was there. And I have not even cracked this open, nor will I. I didn't get it because I want to look at the product. I got it because I want to frame it. Isn't that a beautiful scene?
That it is.
I just loved it so much that I'll probably go like that and just leave it at that. I don't need anything. But I just really like this picture. So I saw somebody carrying this beautiful catalog around and you can see I haven't opened it. I'm not going to, but it's got nice stuff on the back also where it's a big thank you and stuff like that. But so, yeah. I like it.
All right. Well, Jerry Lee, what was your biggest? Because I think we're going to wrap it up. You've shown all your stuff.
4 minutes. Yeah.
So, what was your biggest takeaway from Impressions Long Beach of 2022?
That people are extremely determined to carry on, and that they're very resilient. And that they'll do what it takes. I mean, seriously, people just are trucking. And that's my takeaway. And if you're asking about machinery and stuff like that, I don't have one. And the reason I don't is because not all parties were represented. And I can't be equal in what I saw. I did see some. I will say this. When you are running your machine at a show, you should not just have it like where the needle bar is going up and down and there's no thread. Yes, this can be done. It's a test, okay? It's a test. It's not meant to continue like that. It's to test your machine. You don't run it like that. And when people are walking by and it's going, who's going to buy that? Not me. And another one had the stitches so wide that it was extremely painful. And it hurt. And the one that I'm referring to is I'm not going to name names. But it was just painful. And they were in 2 different booths. Okay, the second one was in Racoma. The stitches were so wide that it was like, boom, boom, boom. I mean, you noticed that, didn't you, Jeff? It was like, holy my golly.
I could hear it from here.
I bet you could. It was like, whoo. It was
you can hear every jump solenoid ever when it fires.
It was bad. It's like stitch to show your machine off, And then the Happy Japan had this Racoma that had that giant fish, which I would have liked to have seen it stitching, but instead they had the needle bar just going up and down. No thread, no needle insertion. Bang, 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 bang. Wow. Turn it off or make it stitch, but don't do that. That's painful. Thank you. That's my takeaway.
So my biggest takeaway is I'm hopeful for the trade show season.
Yep.
From what I saw, it doesn't look like that everybody's ready to go full bore back into trade shows, but it was promising that here within another year or 2 years that we're going to be back to a full blown trade show season, and it's going to be back to its glory. That was my biggest takeaway. The other thing that I was really impressed with was how well they, I'm not going to say enforced, but they set the expectations that you're going to wear a mask, that you're going to come with your vaccine card, you're going to come with a negative COVID test. You know, it was, they were definitely doing what they needed to do to be able to run a successful show. And so I was impressed with that. And so that was my biggest takeaway from
I was impressed with a lot. They were, and here's what happened is that they were, I think, possibly they just were, you know, so much had happened within the impressions world that things were a little more disorganized than maybe in the past, but the team there did a great job, and they did everything possible to make everyone as comfortable as possible. And this year I saw something that I've never seen before, and that was there was 2 reps from Impressions walking that floor. And I have never, in all my years of going to shows, 25 of those I've been. I haven't been to 25 years worth, but I've been to a lot of shows. I have never once seen the Impressions team walking the floor. Maybe I just didn't see them. I don't know. But this year I saw two different people. So I was impressed.
You're up, Matt.
What was the question?
What was your biggest takeaway from
that you didn't go to?
I didn't go, but I can say if I was there, I would have been giving out swag like crazy.
You gave swag.
I feel like I need to make up for it, so we're gonna do something a little fun. Ooh. I have a Nerd Star here. You won't get this one because I just scratched it, so you'll get a clean one. Yeah, it's just disclaimer. If you need proof, here you go.
And
I have 2 left. So
I'll send you some.
But what the goal is if you want to get one of these lovely Nerd Stars, they're super cute, and I think they work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if you get lost, you use the light off of it and find your way back. But the goal is you need to post a picture on Facebook or Instagram, tag the Embroider Nerd as one of them tag thingers, the hashtags or pound tags or whatever they're called. We'll see it, and whichever one is the most liked or we think is the coolest, it's totally biased.
What are they posting a picture of?
I was there. Gosh, you gotta let me speak yet. The coolest picture of the coolest project you have made so far this year.
Okay, so that gives you the last 25 days. Anything fresh?
Yes, embroidery, screen printing, apparel decoration. Whether you got one of them cute little miniature shirts, embroider whatever you want, like a cheeseburger on the mini shirt, and you sit there with your hand and be like, I'm a talking cheeseburger. I don't know, whatever you want to do, as long as it has that thing down over there embroidered.
And it makes these guys happy. You won.
Yep, and then you'll get yourself a nice little Nerd Star. So super adorable,
unscratched, unscathed
Nerd Star in version.
But so we have that. I don't know. Do we have any of the PVC ones yet?
Oh, I have PVC ones. I have more PVC than pins.
Okay, well,
because maybe PVC I haven't been given out at shows.
Ooh.
Well, maybe we could do that. I mean, extra special.
Yep, I think that you ought to each give a star.
So
I
we do
don't.
4 drawings. Well, Justin's not here, so his
No,
opinion.
Justin too. He's included, Justin.
Okay. He's included. Okay, it's
Yes.
official. So 4 drawings, right? Yes, 4 drawings.
You get to pick one. So you got to load up the pictures so there's not one person that gets 4 stars because we aren't doing that. 1 star per household.
There you
The
go.
deadline will be February 1st, just because it's easy.
There you go.
February 1st. Okay.
And that's, I think, all I got. We are 11 minutes over.
You
I
want to
think
catch
all
the
of us
last
need
few
to go take a
comments
nap.
or what?
So what was that?
You want to catch the last few comments or what?
I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at this embroidery nerd button right here. You know.
So here we go. We have Cindy King says, I'm gonna get Cindy. Says beautiful. We have Lisa Saw, Jerry Lee. Are you serious about the needle going up and down with no thread? That is bizarre. Yep.
This went on for the whole time that I was anywhere near that booth. I was utterly shocked. The rep was standing there with his hand on the sash frame border while this was going on, talking to a customer. True story.
So Letty says they were in Fort Worth. I got their signatures on the jacket, so I saw them too. Woohoo, nerd stars! There you go, Cindy. I appreciate all sharing your information from the show. We were happy to.
Yep.
Suzanne fixed the hashtag. I'll blame Matt.
Okay, did I spell it wrong again?
You double check that. And Letty says, I need a load of new picture of something I haven't already shared. There you go.
Embroidery nerd. I always spell it wrong. It's embroidery. It's not in my business name, so I don't have to.
It will be.
Use that one. If you use the other one and you already posted for it, I guess we'll count it because it's technically.
No, it means you have to go redo it because
that's why they have edits on posts.
That's right. Edit. Well, that's all we got.
Yep. So with that is Matt Enderly from Patchphrase, and that is Jerry Lee Medeiros from Sunfacer Manufacturing, and I am Jeff Fuller from Fuller Embroidery Works. We're all here with the Embroidery Nerd. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you guys later.
Toodles noodles.
Adios.